feel like that might be the fastest setup we've ever had. Not to be dramatic.
Yeah, I think it is.
But we did it. Okay. Welcome back to the watch party.
Welcome back.
We are going to cover Love is Blind, season 7, episodes 10, 11 in the reunion.
Yes.
I think this is the end.
It's over.
We're about to wrap this baby up, which Ramses did not do, but we will do. So.
Okay, Vanessa, let's wrap it up.
We're going to wrap it up. So let's go. Trashley, you've got the notes.
I have notes. So
From the top.
I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to cite my source here because I did not make my own notes. This is from Northern Virginia Mag. So thanks, girl.
Thanks, y'all.
We've got Hannah and Nick
Hannah
struggling to see eye to eye. And this is when they're like at the, was it like a little rock climbing place, obstacle course place?
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, sometimes I feel like you view me as inferior to you and a level below you. And I want to be treated as an equal. And she says, I think you are viewed as an equal when you contribute as an equal.
Yeah, Hannah, girl. I don't even know what to say about Hannah other than every time you speak, I can feel how insecure you are with every single word that comes out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Stop it.
You need to stop.
What I see, because I am not a therapist, but basically,
Yeah, we're on a podcast, so we can be whatever we want to be.
I can say whatever I want, right?
That's right.
What I see is the critical parent coming through. So as a child, it sounds like was very criticized. She did talk in the pods about her mom locking the cabinet so that she couldn't get treats.
Yeah, which I don't love.
No. She's obviously very insecure about her weight. So there are things that you develop as a child to adapt to your situation.
Yeah.
And then you become an adult and those become now maladaptive. And so what is coming out of her is what I think she was taking in, or she perceived to be taking in.
Yeah.
Whichever it is. And it's coming out and it's on Nick.
Yeah. And
even in that conversation, she's like, are you ready to get married, Nick? And he's like, yeah, I'm ready. And he's like, you know, I feel like meeting both of, you know, meeting your family, you meeting my family. And those really went well. That meant a lot to me. And she's like, okay, but you didn't answer my question. Are you ready to get married? He's like, I just said, yes, I am.
Yeah.
But her response to that, which put a pin in this because it comes back, is...
I used to have like family and friends' opinions, but at the end of the day, I don't really care what anyone else thinks. My opinion's the only opinion that matters.
Well, you know, I'm glad that you felt like the meetings went well or whatever, but at the end of the day, only my opinion matters. I don't care about anybody else's opinion. So that shouldn't be affecting like your decision and blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, I mean, what the like, don't ask me questions.
He can't win with her.
No.
And I think he sees that, knows that, but is really trying.
Mm-hmm.
And like, we'll get into some Nick D stuff later, especially when it comes to the reunion. But like, and maybe they just gave him a real good edit. It's very possible. But Hannah did herself no favors. But like, when you see Nick talking to Hannah, you see Nick trying. And he is just being met with resistance every freaking time.
Mm-hmm.
And not met with resistance, met with just like straight up defensiveness of, well, now you've touched on a sore subject, which every thing's a sore subject for her.
Yeah.
But like, everything is met with like armed to the teeth.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to protect this castle. No one in, no one out.
Yeah.
Like,
and contempt. Just,
yes.
You are not good enough. You are not smart enough. You are not. Now, he's 28 years old. Should he maybe be able to do some more things? We could all argue. Yeah, that's, I'm sure. But if you don't want to have to teach your partner those things, these are conversations you should have had in the pods.
Exactly. Or if you're seeing it now and you're not okay with it now, you're not going to be okay with it 10 years from now. If he's not learning the things you need him to do, if he's not receptive to that, or she in this, like, I mean, this goes both ways, right? In any relationship. If your partner is not willing to like learn the things you need them to learn, or like do those kinds of things. And I'm not saying like try to change the person you're with, but like,
Yeah,
we're
all
also
have to
talking about
learn
basic things. Like,
Yeah.
you need to know how to pay for your own insurance, friend. Then that's not the partner for you. And that's okay. And
Exactly,
if you are okay with teaching somebody every day for the rest of your
Yeah.
life, then that's great. Maybe that is the partner for you.
And you also can't hold somebody else to your standards, because her standard is, I clean every day, Nick.
Yeah.
I clean every day. I dust every day. I vacuum every day.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you have a dog. She's like, well, this dog doesn't shed, Nick.
Yuck.
Okay, well then what the
She
fuck are
kills me
you
with that.
vacuuming
Nick.
for? Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
you don't need to clean every day. You might have a touch of OCD.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you don't have a job.
She wears me out because she wants him to meet her standards, but she doesn't tell him what the standard is.
Yeah.
And when he tries to do what he thinks is meeting the standard, it's not good enough, but there's also never an explanation of why it's not good enough. It's just, she's, okay, I don't want a woman bash. She is an angry woman. And like, Hannah is resentful of everyone about everything if she feels like slighted in the least.
Yeah.
Like if she feels like someone, and she's also very entitled. Like she feels like everything good should have happened to her. Everything good that happens for somebody else, she feels like should have happened for her too.
Yeah.
And she's mad at you that it happened for you and not for
Exactly.
her. And
Yeah.
it's just, it's
And
gross.
she's going to punish you for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she will.
It's insane.
But let's move on.
Yeah. Tim and Alex break up.
Okay. I like Tim more than I like Alex.
Really?
Yeah, I think I do.
Are you going to start growling at me?
Maybe. Maybe I will. I think I like Tim more than I like Alex. Neither one of them is doing a good job. I don't think they're the right partners for each other.
Yeah, they're definitely
I
not.
think Tim had good intentions and tried. He wasn't good at it though.
No.
I think Alex also tried, but I don't think she was ready for his direct communication, even if he had done it well. And I think she internalized a lot of it. And then tried to come back out later and be like, well, my actions were because of X, Y, and Z that you did. Instead of taking ownership of it.
Interesting. I wish we could hear from like the producers.
Yeah, I agree.
Because they talk about the fight in Mexico.
When I came in here, I came with the full intention that this was probably going to be the last conversation we ever had.
Which we really don't get any context for until the reunion.
And even then, we don't get a lot of context.
No, not a lot. And which, fucking Nick and
Fine,
Vanessa,
whatever.
like whatever. But like not asking questions, just letting them run on, which I guess we'll get to at the reunion. But it's like once I started thinking about it, like looking back on the whole season, when Tim and Alex are together, or even in the pods, it's almost always him speaking all of the time. Like,
Yeah.
he is very long-winded. He does
He is.
talk a lot. To me, it felt like I think he prefers to be, or maybe prefers to be with a woman who's more a little bit seen and not heard. And I'm
Yeah.
really not sure why he was excited about like, oh, she's going to talk her shit and I can talk my shit or whatever. Like,
But it's just one of those things like, if your preference is a more submissive woman who is more seen and not heard, that's okay. That's okay that that's your preference. Be upfront about that, because now you're getting into a relationship. I feel like this goes with Marissa and Ramses too, to like a certain degree. It's okay to have a preference. It's not toxic to say, I don't want an outspoken woman as my
Yeah.
partner. I don't think that's toxic at all if you're upfront about it.
right. Yeah.
The problem is when you're like, no, I love everything about you. I love that you're so outspoken. I love that you're this. I love that, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then now 2 years into this relationship, or however long into this relationship, now we're breaking it because I'm outspoken and I'm stand up for myself and I'm all of these things. Like that,
Yeah.
that to me is toxic.
Yeah.
Have your preference, but be upfront about it, because there's somebody out there that will be that for you.
Exactly. I mean,
Don't
like,
try to make me fit into what you want
Right.
without telling me what you want.
Exactly. And I do feel like Alex was saying that in the breakup. She's like, if you had a problem, like, also there was like, no context for. He's like, you chose to go to sleep.
Yeah,
Like,
we don't get the context about that until the reunion.
yeah, like, okay, so I took a fucking nap. Like,
Yeah.
get the over it. I don't know. And he's very, like, looking back on the season, he's very antagonistic. He's like, oh, well, I got this yellow shirt because my ex said she hated it, so I bought it and wore it around her all the time, like, just to piss her off. Like, like they were shopping and she kept asking him to stop doing the bulldog thing.
Yeah.
And he kept doing the bulldog. And I told Andrew and I watched that reveal together, and he kept doing that. And I said, he is on her last nerve right now. And Andrew's like, really? You think so? And I was like, oh yeah. she's
Andrew couldn't
pissed.
see that. It didn't register for him.
No. He was like, I thought they really liked each other. I was like, I think they like each other, but I think she's questioning some shit right now. Like,
okay,
what did I do? But yeah, it felt very an immature way to break off an engagement. I felt like, I mean, granted, it's.
I feel like they're both immature, and I feel like that's what the problem is.
Yes,
I feel like Alex is very immature too. Maybe not in real life situations, but like as far as maturity for a committed relationship in a marriage, I don't think either one of them had it. Yeah. I do think, at least per the edit though, that Tim did a better job of being direct in his communication. Yeah, and seemingly poorly keeping a level head ish. Which was also maybe manipulative. I mean, it very well could have been like a very because I did at one point during the breakup, he kept saying, can I speak? And it's like, you are speaking, like, what do you, I don't know, it was very strange, but they broke up big time. Thank God. Like, they're done with that. Yeah. Let's just jump to the reunion. Okay, well, let's start with Ramses and Marissa. They break up. Oh yeah, they break up. Because he tells her she's too much. Again, this is where I say, I go back to like toxic relationship shit. The way Ramses handled that was, I felt like, a very toxic way to handle it. Because the whole time he's like, your personality's not too much. She tells him, that's my biggest fear, my biggest insecurity is people say I'm too much, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And he's like, no, I love it. And then why do they break up? Because she's too much. And he's not sure our energy matches. And I was just like, first of all, you knew what her energy was way before now. Yeah. And like, she's got all these health issues. I know we talked about this in the last one. She's got all these health issues. And then she had her period at the same time she was sick and like all this other stuff. She's stressed, whatever. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, is it going to be like this all the time? Mm-hmm. Like, no, motherfucker, I'm not going to have a cold every fucking day and not want to have sex with you. But like, sometimes I don't, and that's okay. Right. His red flags start flaring up. Yeah. Big time. Those scenes, I was like, are you f***ing kidding me? But then I saw an interview with him on the Vial Files. I've been catching up on the Vial Files because he snags those people up. As soon as they drop off the show, he's like, get in here, girl. We need to chat. Yeah. And I feel like his episodes are better than the reunion. We get way more detail. 100%. But anyway. Yeah. So Ramses clarified some of those things and said, you know, he was like, that breakup scene was much longer, obviously, than what it showed. Yeah. The contraception scene was much longer than what they showed. All of the conversations that we had were hours long, and they're showing 2 minutes of it or whatever. That's fair. Yeah, and he was like, the energy thing, he was like, that sounds so vague, and it sounds like you're too much for me, and it's not going to work. He was like, my concerns were leading up to that, so... Obviously, he said he's a very, like, touchy, affectionate person, which, like, get in line, men, you all are, but, okay. So, like, I feel like 99% of men are like, my love language is touch, and I'm like, is it touch or is it sex? Like, is it touch or is it touch your penis? Exactly, like, because I do think that some of them confuse the two. Yeah. So, anyway, but he said that there were several times where they'd be like going out to dinner or going to do stuff or just hanging around the house or whatever. They'd be sitting on the couch or they'd be sitting in a cab or Uber. Cab. What am I, 100 years old? Okay. All right, geriatric millennial getting in a cab over here. Getting in a cab. Those were the days. And he was like, you know, I'd reach over and like touch her hand or put my hand on her, you know, leg or something like that. And she would like push me away. And she's like, don't touch me. Like, she was very like, he said it was easy for her to get overstimulated. He's like, which is fine. Yeah. But I needed
that closeness too. And he was like, our physical intimacy was not what I expected. And I did not just mean sex. There were just, she would brush me away from her. He said after we would have sex, she didn't want to touch me anymore after that. It was like,
Okay.
we couldn't snuggle, we couldn't cuddle. And he was like, again, that's fine, but
that was not his expectation.
yeah. And so he's like, when I'm asking, is this what it's gonna be like the whole time? He's like, that's what I'm talking about. Is like, so yeah, they break up. It was heartbreaking. It was really sad.
But do you know what I didn't like? And maybe it's at the reunion that they talk about this and not actually in the episode. I think it's at the reunion that they talk about it, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. I don't like that Marissa says, I didn't know what to do, so I called my mom. That's not the part I don't like. Call your mom, girl. What I didn't like is how she said, and I had my mom talk to him on the phone to try to get him to change his mind. Don't beg somebody to stay with you. Don't do that.
I know. For a man, oof.
For that, with 2 twigs out of the side of his head? Absolutely not.
Yeah, no, we don't. I mean, look,
I get the heartbreak.
We've all been there. But I remember at the point in my life where I was like, for a man? Oh,
No.
Oh, no. Honey.
How
I can get
embarrassing.
How embarrassing.
How
for
embarrassing
us.
for me. No.
I don't think so. And that is how you get a husband.
That is how you get us.
Because you're like, oh, I'm sorry, you're not sure about this? Well,
Okay.
then we're broken up and I'll go find somebody else. And they're like,
Wait a minute.
hang on but what if you don't stay single? Oh, is that a problem? Because, bitch, I won't.
I sure won't.
I don't got no problems, okay?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Just don't beg people to stay with you. Like,
and if there's going to be that much incompatibility, like,
yeah.
I feel like for Marissa, she didn't maybe want to see it. She wanted it to be like,
Yeah, she did.
we can move past that. We can move past that. And there are things that you can move past.
That ain't one, though.
That's not one of them. So, yeah.
I felt like she very much had the blinders on and was just like, we're going to make
I
this
wanna
work.
get to
This
the
is my
altar.
fiance. I'm going to marry him. We're going to stay together.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
And when she was like, well, I mean, the first 3 to 5 years of our marriage, I might not be happy.
Yeah, I'm willing to.
No.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So what was the next thing you were going to talk about? 'Cause
Oh,
we
let's
did-
talk about Trashley and
Yeah.
Tyler.
Okay. So Vanessa and Nick, or Vanessa, I guess. Nick really doesn't ask a shit ton of questions, I guess. But
They're both useless. Get them off the stage.
they came harder for Ramses
Yeah.
than a man who hid 3 whole children.
Whole children. They just gloss right over it. They're like, you didn't tell her about it? And he's like, we talked about it. Ashley says, we talked about it off screen. I knew about this. He wanted to protect the children. That's why we didn't talk about it in the pods. And that's why you don't see it on camera. But y'all think I didn't know? Y'all think it was an episode of Maury Povich.
Yes.
Where she's like, they've confronted you with all of the evidence. And she's like, you think I didn't know? That's my man.
I know.
Like, then stick by your man, girl.
And she says too, in the reunion, she says the night before we had that conversation on camera where I'm in the beanie and I'm looking all sad and blah, blah, blah. And I asked him, do those kids know what you look like? And he's like, I don't think so. You can tell that he's lying, okay? Because we had already talked about that. She says that they came up with that lie together.
Yeah.
Because she knew they had to talk about it on camera in some capacity or she couldn't move forward with the experiment, but they were trying to protect the kids.
Yeah.
So they came up with that lie together. Okay.
The whole thing is just like, girl, do you blink
Can you
twice
hear
if you
yourself?
need
Yeah.
help?
Like that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, no, it was,
Why would you come up with a lie to tell?
I don't know.
And then she's like, who do you think knows more about this, social media or me?
Who do you think has better insight on what's going on, social media or me?
Girl, social media.
100% social media.
There's court documents,
Social
honey.
media probably knows more about my life than I do. And I'm not even
100%.
I'm not even out there in a heavy capacity.
No, look, they know more than you do because you are choosing to believe a man. And I'm not trying to be like a man hater or whatever, but
Yeah.
I've had a lot of ex-boyfriends lie their fucking asses off to me for a long time.
And then Nick and Vanessa just gloss right over
Yeah,
it. They're like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
thanks.
we weren't there. So yeah, I get it. That makes sense. No, it
Happily ever
doesn't.
after the
Yeah.
end. If Steven is the beacon of truth on this, then whatever.
Steven, who never deletes a text thread and
I
then 2
know.
seconds later says, well, I don't know, I deleted that text thread.
Yeah.
Today?
No,
You weren't texting today. Okay, let me see your phone.
I deleted the message.
Of course you did.
He knows he's trash.
Yeah.
And he's okay with being trash. And you know what? Be trash, man.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I can't. How am I supposed to be mad at you about that? Like,
I guess
you
that's
know
true.
you are,
what you are.
and,
But
like,
going into the pods and being like,
pretending you are not is very different.
and pretending that you did the work. Like,
Yeah.
look, I did this. I'm not proud of it. I read books. I went to therapy.
I technically hold the title of being a cheater. I've been cheated on multiple times.
I don't want to be that person anymore. And then him sitting there in the reunion being like, well, I got this message and she was messaging me about a heart condition.
Which
No, the fuck
turned
she
into a
wasn't.
discussion about
And
weird
then she
fetishes.
was like, oh, I'm into some new fetishes lately. And he's like,
oh,
the
yeah, tell me
new-
about them.
Yeah, the new me wanted to see what I would do with that. No, the you didn't. You wanted to jack off. I mean,
Yeah.
like,
Which, again, is fine. But, like, he knows he's trash. He's owning the fact that he's trash. He, in the pods, did try to pretend that he wasn't trash, and I don't like that. But I feel like now he's just like, this is who I am.
I don't
and
know.
honestly, he's like waving a real big red flag about it. So, like, I can't even
Yeah,
be mad because
definitely.
you've identified yourself. You
Yeah.
make yourself readily identifiable. So, like,
yeah, exactly.
I don't like it, but do what you do, I guess.
And you know, there's going to be women that still try to get
love
with him.
it. They're going to love it. They're going to eat that shit up.
100%. It's like, oh my gosh.
But, I mean, we do gloss over Steven and Monica.
Yeah.
Monica's not very interesting.
I
mean,
also,
at least not in the reunion.
Yeah, I also feel like she maybe doesn't want to believe some of the stuff about Steven.
Yeah, like,
Not
she
be-
might
not
still
believe
be
it, but-
holding out hope that, like, she keeps thinking, you can tell she thinks he might still be able to redeem himself.
Well, I saw she did an interview with the Biofiles. She did a couple, and the first one she did, it was before the breakup scene had released, so she couldn't really say a lot. And then after that, she came back on, and they were talking to her about, well, do you think that he kind of like duped you, in the pods and blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff? And she's like, no, like, I thought him admitting to it and being upfront about it was really refreshing, because I've dated other guys who have cheated in the past and they didn't tell me that they had a history of that, blah, blah, blah. So she's like, I really thought, and I think she's trying to hold on to that. Like,
You're so cute.
She's trying to hold on to
didn't
the
get-
image that she had of him and ignore who he showed her he was.
and maybe protect herself a little bit
Yeah.
of like, and I don't know. I think she doesn't want to be like duped.
Yeah.
Again,
She doesn't want to
you
be the
know?
girl that fell for it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, I get that, but also, like, it just, every angle of every person on this show looked angry. Everybody was mad that their life wasn't what they thought it was going to be, that other people were getting more advantages or opportunities or had better a better starting position. Like, it just, everybody was resentful and angry of everyone for something, and it was just, honestly, it was gross.
And honestly, like the part where somebody said,
Except for Taylor and Garrett. I love them.
I know. Yeah. And Garrett over there being like the fucking voice of reason. He's like, this is a very immature conversation and I can't wait for this to be over. Like, it was just like, and I
Tell
don't
him,
remember which
Garrett.
conversation it was, but at one point when I guess this was the Nick and Hannah stuff, and Nick had said something, he was like, hey, Hannah's getting a lot of hate. Like, I don't think she deserves that, like, blah, blah, blah. And Hannah's like, well, why are you liking the comments then, Nick? And he's like, Jesus. And also, it's unhinged for you to know what comments he's liking.
I know.
Is nobody going to talk about that? Like,
100%.
because she probably still doesn't have a job. But so she's
Probably not. And even if she did, I bet she's 100% stalking him. She will never let that man have peace.
You mature enough, Nick, because I taught you fucking everything that you know. I turned you into a boy, into a fucking
No,
man.
no. And I
Never,
was just like,
because she's so unhappy with herself and her own life that she cannot stand for anyone around her to be happy. And Katie's at the reunion, Marissa's at the reunion, the other people are at the reunion. Talk about, well, Hannah's a really good friend, but like, she can be,
she's really hateful to me too.
She
She's
can
a
be
bitch
really
to me
hateful.
too. She's really mean to me too.
and
I'm
everyone's just like, that's just how
but
she
she's
is.
my best friend. Yeah.
That's just Hannah. No, bitch, that's not just
No.
Hannah.
And spoiler alert, none of them are friends with her anymore.
Oh, are they not?
Yeah, Marissa went on like a news channel interview after that, and she was like, yeah, we're not really friends anymore. And Katie said the same thing. So
Because she's awful.
because she's awful. Nick
I think
Vile,
our battery's going to die.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Okay. I will say, I guess maybe final two final thoughts. I love Leo now.
I do like Leo now.
didn't-
Social media Leo, I love
it was
him.
gonna happen, but I actually really
We didn't even talk about
liked
that. Brittney
him.
and Leo come back.
They do.
And they're actually really funny, and they're
They
friends.
are, and
They
they're
talk
good
about they're still
friends.
friends.
Yeah.
She's in his social media videos now. She says, like, one of the things that he does, I don't know if you saw this video, that drove her crazy was, like, no matter what she was drinking, he would always take a drink of it.
Yeah.
And they do a social media video where they're on, like, a little coffee date. Not date, but you know what I mean? Like, they're
Yeah,
all having
hanging
coffee
out.
together or whatever, and she, like, sits her drink down, and he's, like, looking at the camera, and he just, like, snatches it. It's so funny. Like, but you can tell they're, like, really playful together, and they actually do really enjoy each other. And they talk about when they went to Miami, and, like, she's like, it just didn't, they both say, like, we just realized very, very quickly, like, we're really good friends.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And,
Yeah.
like, they're the only two that aren't mad at each other.
I know.
And don't have anything bad really to say about each other. Every bad thing they say about each other is just them, like,